So RWBY Volume 5, Episode 2 is here. But before I begin, I want to apologize real quick for a mistake I made last week. Now, it's nothing too big, but I do want to correct myself because it was a mistake. So, you know how I said that for free members that, want to watch RWBY and all that, they don't have a first account on Rooster Teeth? Well, apparently things have changed I was actually unaware of. Apparently, you gotta wait a couple of days to watch a show instead of waiting a full 24 hours. Because normally, back in the past, you would have to, wait a full day. For instance, it's coming out Saturday, and then the episode will come out for free on the site on Sunday. But they've changed it to where you have to wait a couple of days. So that was my bad last week for anyone that thought, I was lying or whatever, or like, why is it not out? I apologize. Please forgive me. I was completely unaware of that. But basically, after a couple days, it will be out on their site. But it won't be out, in the first 24 hours. Anyways, let's talk about the episode. To begin, I guess let's talk about the White Fang scene, because this is a scene that, out of everything, was kind of shocking, savage, good, but also bad at the same time. Now, it wasn't bad in terms of writing perspective, so to say. It was a really good scene to progress Adam's character, so I have no problem with that. Like, I have no problem with the scene in terms of writing and the progression of the story. However, I think everybody knows what I'm going to mention when it comes to why I'm a little bit disappointed with the scene. And that would be the leader of the White Fang's character design being wasted. Such a good character design. And I know for a fact I'm not the only one to mention this. I know for a fact I'm not. But the character design of the leader of the White Fang is just so good. It was such a good design. Very, very good design. And it really pains me to see such a good design that obviously took a lot of time. Like, for a fact that design for that character was not something that was very simple to do. But on top of that, the voice acting as well from the character was really well done. A very, very good voice actor. And I was just like, wow, that kind of sucks. Like, having a character that was just that well designed, such a good voice actor, just gone. And it feels like such a waste. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I am very, very happy to see Rooster Teeth dabbling into darker themes and not shying away from character death. That makes me very happy to see. And I like the direction RWBY is going. I am very pleased with that aspect. And I'm glad it happened. However, I just feel like it was just such a good character design just to have it gone from the series. Unless she's alive somehow, which could happen. I don't know. Possibility, but I don't know. We'll just see where Rooster Teeth wants to take it. But I just feel like in terms of the voice acting and how good it was to the character design, it's such a waste. But anyways, though, let's talk about the other stuff of the scene. Adam's betrayal. When you think about Adam's character and what he's been trying to do since the very beginning and, since we found out about him, it makes sense that he would do anything, even probably overthrow the leader and someone close to him to be able to achieve what he wants. And so seeing what he did to the White Fang, or the leader of the White Fang, and then, using his popularity to, win everybody in, the throne room and stuff, makes sense. It goes completely in line with his character. It doesn't go against his character. And when I saw him walking up the steps and all that, I just knew what was about to happen. I don't think I'm the only one to think that, but when you saw Adam just walking up the steps, getting closer and closer, I'm like, he's about to kill her. Like, he is about to put her down. Like, it's very obvious. And then, all of a sudden, when, nothing happened and, the men didn't raise their spears or anything, that proved right then and there that she's done. She's over. It's gone for her. GG. So, Adam's betrayal. He is now the leader of the White Fang. Okay, so he got a big boost in terms of power, political power, and all that. He's got a big boost. And now, the Faunus, or at the very least the White Fang, is going to completely be following his orders and going to be working for Salem, from now on. I mean, there's not going to be anybody to oppose them in terms of internally in the White Fang. So, yeah, very interesting stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing what Blake feels about, Adam and what Adam just did. Because from what you could assume is that who he just killed, the person Adam just killed, you could assume that's most likely his mentor and all that. Like a mentor-type figure to him. And so, it makes you wonder how Blake will feel about that once everything is said and done. Anyways, though, let's talk about Hazel for a second. Hazel's character really surprised me. Really surprised me with this episode. And I don't know how to really peg him right now as a villain. He seems like a very, very complex character. He could be a complex character because of how Rooster Teeth is designing him. Hazel in this episode, he tried. You could see in this episode, he really tried to make it to where nobody died. He didn't want anyone to come to harm and die. At first, the way he acted, he even, like, kind of bowed down and all that to act like he didn't want to die. He didn't want any death, but at the same time, he didn't want to make sure they died. And you could see by just the entire tone and atmosphere that, you know, Hazel, he was a very interesting party in this episode. He did not want anyone to die that day. And this really makes me fascinated. I want to know more about his character, because for him to act like that and not want, you know, anyone to die, even if they kind of oppose their plans for what they want to accomplish, what Salem wants, then you would think that he would be all for what Adam was doing. But once everything was said and done, when you look at his character and the way he acted and all that, it seemed like he was upset. He was really upset. Like, he was really angry. Not just for the fact he wasn't filled in on it, but the fact that she died. It was like, nobody needed to die today, and he just walked off. So that makes me wonder, is he a type of character that is really against killing? Is he a villain that is against killing? And the only time he wants to kill someone is if it's absolutely necessary. So I'm looking forward to more of his character. Just a very interesting character after the way Rooster Teeth displayed him. I mean, they wouldn't have him repeat that phrase a couple of times in the episode if that wasn't something very big with his character that's going to be very important for the plot in the future when we finally have, like, Ruby and all them confront him. Anyways, let's talk about Cinder. So Cinder seems to be getting back her spunk. We get to see that in this episode. She kind of says shut up to Watts and all that. So it shows that Cinder is getting back to her roots and how she kind of was in the past. I still do believe eventually Cinder is going to have some form of redemption story. I do sense that happening, or she's going to be, you know, killed off by Salem. Salem's going to just end her, one or the other. Either Cinder's gonna have redemption, or Salem's gonna kill her, because that's what's been set up since the last season, and I'm assuming that's bound to happen eventually, even if Cinder's going back to kind of her roots and how she used to act. And I was really happy to actually see how she told Watts to shut up, because the man, his face, man, like, when he smiles, I'm like, he's just that type of character, that type of villain you just wanna, you know, right in the face, because just the way he acts, his persona and all that, the way he's that type of character that likes to manipulate people behind the scenes and make them, you know, move like pawns or whatever, or chess pieces, he's just that type of character that you just want to punch in the face, because he feels like he's better than everyone, or the way he acts, he's better than everyone, and I just believe that when, you know, Cinder did that, I was just smiling like, thank you so much, Cinder, thank you for actually doing that to this man, and making him kind of shut up and have like a frown on his face. So, with that being said, though, we also get a little bit more insight to Lionheart. Lionheart clearly lacks a lot of confidence, and that's been very obvious since, you know, last episode, but he clearly is being controlled ever since the beginning. So there's definitely something being held over his head. Like, something's being held to where he can't, you know, do anything he wants. And Salem obviously has something that, you know, has caused it to where he is now a pawn. He's working for them. And you can just see in his face the way he interacts and all that, he's trying to please them, that he clearly is trying to protect something. And like I already said, it's most likely a family member. It's very obvious on this perspective, and just in terms of normal writing, that a family member, someone he deeply cares about, a loved one or whatever, has to be imprisoned by Salem, or someone close by Watts. Like, someone's imprisoned by Watts. Watts has him, or whatever. So, I believe, like I said, that is why. And when you see in this episode when Salem's like, look, you need to understand that you shouldn't have so much confidence right now. And then she was, like, about to put him down like she could end him like that. It just shows how much of a hold she has over him, and that he clearly doesn't have any grounds to refuse her or do anything he wants. So she clearly is holding him by the reins and won't let this man do anything he wants. Now, besides that, let's get into the, you know, Weiss scene. So Weiss had a big spotlight in this episode, and Weiss is one of my favorites. She's not my favorite, but she's one of my favorites. My favorite's obviously Blake, but Weiss is a really good character, and she has had a lot of development. When you go back to Season 1 or Volume 1, RWBY, she has developed so much. I mean, she was just this ritzy character that seemed like she knew everything, or she was just that standard jerk character that was just a rich girl. And you can see how much she has changed and developed over time, and how she acts now even towards her father from the previous season, and then now trying to help out people or fighting. You can just see that she has changed so much, and it makes me really love to see this. I really love seeing this character development and all that, of how Rooster Teeth has thrown this in constantly throughout the seasons. And like I said, the only character that really needs a lot of development right now is RWBY. She needs a lot of development. But anyways, you know, RWBY, you know, how she was really upset when she found out about Penny. So it was obvious that she still had something going on, lingering emotions, and she hasn't given that up at all. So there's definitely some more development to take place for her, which made me very excited. But getting back into Weiss, though, out of all of the main characters, she is someone that is probably developed the most. One of the characters has developed the most. I mean, arguably, you could say Yang has developed a lot, and then Blake, but I mean, I just think Weiss, in terms of the spotlight she's gotten throughout the series, she has developed so much, and I like seeing her in this episode with a spotlight and fighting and all that, and showing that she cares about everybody else around her, and then what she'll do to improve herself, but also showing that she has increased her power so much. She's able to actually summon something, a knight, a white knight, which was in her white trailer. If you ever remember watching the trailer to RWBY, like when, you know, RWBY was first beginning, and it was coming out and all that, and Rooster Teeth is, you know, hyping it up and stuff, there was a, like, Snow White trailer. You would get to see, like, Weiss and all that, summoning, like, an armor. It looked like, you know, Snow White or whatever. And that's what this looks like. When you see that knight pop up, I'm like, yo, this is so epic. Seeing that she's able to summon something, seeing that it's able to fight and all that, it was just so epic how it's fighting in midair. It reminded me of something from Gundam. If you've ever watched Gundam, then most likely you know what I'm talking about. It reminded me of something from Gundam, when you just see it fighting in the air, fighting like that big bee and all that, the queen bee. I was just like, this is truly freaking epic. So, yeah, besides that, I do have to say that that entire scene, in terms of progression, it wasn't very important. It was mainly just showcasing an action scene. And I feel like that's a big thing that we, I guess, need a little bit. I mean, a lot of fans of RWBY, we do love our character development. We love our progression and all that story and all that. But sometimes we do really like the action. And Rooster Teeth does a very good job with action. I mean, if you've ever watched Red vs. Blue, you know what I'm talking about. They do a good job when it comes to action stuff or action episodes. And seeing that, it showcases what we can expect from this season, Volume 5 at the very least. It was a really good way to show how much they've cranked up, you know, the art style and the animation or CGI and all that for the series, because every single season, clearly the series gets better and better. It looks better and better every season, and I just love how polished it looks. And you could just see such a big difference from the fight in this episode compared to, like, a fight from, you know, Season 1 or Season 2. It just looks vastly different, so much better, and honestly, it doesn't even look the same anymore in terms of just how much quality it is. I still have to say that I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next, especially with how good this episode was. So yeah, that's about it. I mean, the episode was very simple overall. I mean, it just kind of did a lot of setup, showing us the villain side of the story, what they want to accomplish. We get to see Raven pop up and, you know, knock out, you know, Weiss in this episode. So it does show that Raven, once again, being her typical Raven type character, being a jerk and all that. And so Weiss is captured, so that means that she's definitely going to be popping up with Team RWBY very soon, or RWBY and all that. They're going to be able to meet up. We're going to have Crow meet up and all that. So it's going to be very interesting to see when, you know, they all meet up again, because we know all of our main characters are going to the same destination, and eventually they're going to confront Raven, and we're probably going to have a big battle with the Grimm and stuff. I'm just really looking forward to it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, how you felt about this episode. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe, and if you like this video, please leave a like. I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.